A simple business transaction gone completely wrong has a Gansevoort couple waiting for a refund of $6,000.
But they've been waiting for 2 years, and there's still no sign they're going to get their thousands of dollars back. 13 Investigates Tessa Bentulin has the story.
Something to I've seen him do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob and Susan Fusinato moved back to Gansevoort after living in St. Augustine, Florida for several years. Their home needed some fixing up. At the top of their list, a new gas stove as a secondary heating source to replace this one. To beat the winter rush, the Fusinatos started shopping in April 2023 and wanted to have a new gas stove installed by summer. They went to the Cozy Cabin in Warrensburg and found exactly what they were looking for, a Vermont Castings gas stove.
It seemed to be what I would think would be a pretty simple process of finding something you want to buy, agree to buy it, and then pay for it, and then have it installed. That didn't happen.
The Fusinatos say they were told to pay the full amount of $6,009 up front, and they did. Next, the Fusinatos needed to get the Vermont Castings installed, and that is where the problem began.
We never received, a final install date based on her installers that they had recommended. And the second red flag would have been their installers were not employees of the company. They were contracted out.
This meant install was going to be another hefty cost for the Fusinatos.
The salesperson we've dealt with said that she personally had one of these installers that she recommended do work in her own home. And, that was, enough for us to believe her.
The Fusinatos called an installer they were recommended.
After 4 phone calls in several weeks, I finally got a response back that he was too busy. And if he came out to look at the situation of our current stove here, it would cost a couple $100 for him just to come out and evaluate it. So,
Bob called the next one. That installer came to the home at no cost, but the time frame to put in the Vermont Castings was well after what they requested.
It would be late October, and it would be X amount of dollars to install it, which was not what we agreed to. When he came out, we agreed to having this done, probably in the month of May or June.
That's when the Fusinatos went back to Cozy Cabin.
We finally just said, this isn't working out, we'd like a refund. And then that's when they said, oh, we don't offer refunds.
On the sales order, it does say no refunds. The Fusinatos tried calling for weeks and even sent a certified letter to Cozy Cabin explaining why they should get a refund. No responses. Until August 2023, Cozy Cabin wrote a letter to the Fusinatos apologizing they could not find an installer and will make an exception to the no refund rule. The order would be canceled for a 15% restocking fee taken out of their $6,000 order.
We wrote back to them and said, restocking fee, that's ludicrous because we don't have anything for you to restock because we've never received anything.
The Fusinatos never got their Vermont Castings gas stove because they could not find a suitable installer, and Cozy Cabin does not deliver any products. Susan then decided to file a complaint with the Attorney General's office. The AG's office investigated and reached out to Cozy Cabin, who stood their ground and stated they're still waiting for Bob to pick up the furnace. As a last-ditch effort, the Fusinatos spoke with an attorney who gave them some advice.
It's probably the best thing you can do is to eat humble pie, go and agree to their restocking fee, even though we have never received the stove.
And the Fusinatos wrote to Cozy Cabin in July 2024, agreeing to the restocking fee. They haven't heard a peep since and haven't received any of their money back.
It should have been a simple business transaction. We went in, we bought something, we paid for it. It should have been installed. We should be sitting in front of it right now. Buyer
beware of something like that. Before you go out and buy something, I'd say, really do your homework, talk to your friends.
That's Tessa Bentulin. The Fusenados tell 13 Investigates they're deciding if they want to take this to a small claims court.
As for Cozy Cabin, Tessa Bentulin went to the store in Warrensburg. She spoke with one of the owners. He did not agree to an on-camera interview, but he did tell Tessa that the Fusenados will not be getting their money back because he says they responded too late. And even though nowhere on the letter it says the Fusenados need to respond by a certain date.
A Gansevoort couple was out thousands of dollars for a product they never received, and now they're fighting for a refund. Looking back, Bob and Susan Fusenado said they would have handled the situation a lot differently.
New at 5, how you can avoid a really messy situation like this. Our 13 Investigates Tessa Bentulin now shares part 2 of this really strange story.
That's what we did. And at this point,
Bob and Susan Fusenado were excited to check off one of their bigger and more expensive renovation projects off their list, a backup heating source at their Gansevoort home. But they never ended up getting their Vermont Castings gas stove because they could not get an installer to meet their timeline of when they wanted it to be put in. However, the couple found this out only after they paid the full $6,009 for it. When making a big purchase, Katerina Schmieder with the Better Business Bureau says you should weigh all of your options and ask the appropriate questions.
In this case, you'd want to ask, is there a separate fee for installation? Is the business able to install it themselves, or do you have to hire somebody else? Those are all things you want to figure out before it becomes a done deal.
The Fusenados say a red flag was right under their noses the entire time. They say they should have secured an installer before paying in full, and the company they went through, the Cozy Cabin in Warrensburg, does not have their own install team. The Fusenados had to find one themselves. BBB says you want to always ask about the refund policy.
Stores or businesses in New York State legally aren't required to issue refunds. So those are things you should find out before you make a purchase. Additionally, some people will offer refunds, but that may be in the form of store credit, or in some cases, they might charge a restocking fee.
The Fusenados tried to get a refund from Cozy Cabin. The store said they'll make an exception to their no refund policy and charge a 15% restocking fee taken out of their $6,000 purchase.
We wrote back to them and said, restocking fee, that's ludicrous because we don't have anything for you to restock because we've never received anything.
After months of trying to fight it, the Fusenados agreed to the restocking fee, but never got their money back. It's been almost 2 years since they bought the gas stove and have nothing to show for it. And this is the Fusenados' message to others.
Really do your homework, talk to your friends and people in the area, and make sure that you're dealing with someone above board.
The BBB echoes that.
Well, this is a lot of money to spend, so you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions and, considering all of the factors that might go into making such a large purchase like this.
The Fusenados tell 13 Investigates they did find another company that does have their own installers and can meet their new deadline to have the gas stove put in. Cozy Cabin declined to comment for the story. Tessa went to the store and asked a bunch of questions, and they were less enthusiastic about speaking to her.
I just might be a simple everyday television news anchor, but to me that kind of sounds like theft. Pay you $6,000 and you don't get anything for it in return. Yeah.
It's quite the story.